Man, oh man, we're there. Greetings, salutations to you as we look at the holidays coming. Good Friday, Easter holidays. Greetings to you and yours from Moran Point to Nick Grill. This is your program, The Mailbox. Thank you so much for joining us. It happens every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. right here in Love 101 FM, the family station. Welcome to another week here inside The Mailbox, the program designed for men, hosted by men, real men. And this is Mentegrity Wednesday. I am Kevin Bailey, and with me is my co-host,
Courtney Morrison. What's up, Kevin? Radioland. Good evening and welcome to the Mailbox. Today inside the Mailbox, it's our integrity man, and our integrity man who is driven by the mantra proper preparation prevents poor performance. Let's say that again. I almost got my tongue tied. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Is a man whose name isn't new to you. He is none other than Brian Cuff, husband of Basilia Barnaby Cuff, father of two, media practitioner, YouTuber at Stuffs from the Cuff. Good afternoon, welcome all. It's good to be here. We're excited about today's program, and it's going to be one to remember. So, man, guess what? Who want to do? Okay, who want them to do?
we want them to hear up, send your feedback, your questions on Facebook page, Love 101 FM. Where you live, we want to be in touch with you. We want us to connect. This is Man Corner, right? We are live on Facebook and YouTube. The technology, we're using it in the pandemic, making sure we're seeing the opportunities in the midst of adversity. Of course, we want to offer condolences and our prayers to those who are grieving and those who are having just extenuating circumstances. We know it's a difficult time, unprecedented. But guess what? We're here for you. We're here for you. A problem shared is a problem halved, right? And no man is an island. So the mailbox is here. So we're asking you to participate. Give us a call. WhatsApp line is 876-997-3125. That's 876-997-3125. Or give us a call. Give us a call on 876-968-8327. And ladies, remember, you get to participate in the program by leaving us a message via WhatsApp or comment on our Facebook page, right? Thank you so much, ladies, for supporting us and for praying for us and encouraging us. What could we do without you, Courtney? What could we do without the ladies? They are so supportive of us, and we really appreciate it.
That's a big question, because in truth, God saw that it was not good for man to be alone, so he gave us someone to be with. And so your support is vital. Your support is key, because it was never good for us to be alone. So we thank you for joining us on the Mailbox. So it is the Mailbox. We'll take a break and we'll be right back after this.
Hey man, I am a man. OnlyFlow gives you everything you want in every plan. Unlimited local calls and texts, plus unlimited data for the apps you really want, like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and WhatsApp. No other network comes close. Flow has plans from 2 to 30 days, and every plan has everything you want. Dial *129 *6 number to activate your 7-day plan with everything you want for only $675. Conditions apply.
Life comes at you fast and it can hit hard. Apply for the Credit Union Prepaid MasterCard from C&WJ with chip and PIN protection. Need a card with a personal line of credit for emergencies? We have that. Need a card you can use to shop online for that must-have item? We have that. The community and workers of Jamaica Prepaid MasterCard. All the convenience of a MasterCard. Discover the benefits of belonging.
Grace foods of a buzz. Grace foods of the taste that moves you. Listen no more when you follow me. Grace foods of the taste that move the family. Them have a product for everybody. So if I know grace, that no matter me. So what's the dance and take a step to get the taste around the place and the best food me ever taste without apology.
Move with Grace to win a Toyota RAV4 with 1 year free insurance from GK Insurance plus your share of $9 million. See press and our social media for details. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lodges Act.
I'm looking for a new pizza joint with that perfect crust. My car needs a bit of a tune-up, and my pregnant wife needs something from the pharmacy. So I turned to the printed yellow directory, and in an instant, the pizzas are ordered, the oil change is booked, and the thing that I'm not allowed to say out loud has been purchased for my wife. Problem solved. When you need something quick, do yourself a favor. Flip through the printed yellow directory. Stop searching, start finding. Yellow, we know local.
Digicel Prime brought a plan and the people them start a plan. That's a whole heap of service in a you want. 1 gigabyte, YouTube, music, sports and movies, extra talk time in a one. Everything you want and what's on to the new 7-day Digicel Prime brought a bundle.
Get it all when you activate the new 7-day Digicel Prime brought a bundle in the My Digicel app. Limited time offer.
Everything you want and what's on to the new 7-day Digicel Prime brought a bundle.
Easter times are coming and the buns are being baked. So many buns to choose from, but only one to take home. HTV is the one that's got that baked in quality. Full of fruits and raisins, soft and sweet as a bun can be. So when you're buying Easter buns, look out for HTV. That's the one that's got the taste that's guaranteed to please. HTV.
Integrity man, I am a man, I am a man, I am a man, yes. Strong man, integrity man, I am a man, I am a man, I am a man, I am a man.
Welcome back, welcome back. We thank you for joining us here back live on the program, The Mailbox, into its 9th year this year. Kevin, what a thing.
Yes.
We've been on doing this together for 9 years. It's such an amazing thing to be doing. It's Mentegrity Wednesday, though, inside the Mailbox. And our Mentegrity man is none other than the illustrious, bearded Brian Cuff. And he's here to join us today. It's good to have you with us, Brian. How are you? You're no stranger to us.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys.
Great to be with you again. Looking great too. And so we're really anticipating a very empowering time, inspiring time. We know that the Lord is with us, and we're very privileged and honored to have you sharing with us again, Brian. Thank you so much for coming.
Hey Kev, how was the weekend? How did you manage without being at church, lockdown and stuff? I got full rest. It's the first time I have not been to church on a Sunday, even since the pandemic. I sat and I watched myself on television live at the time we were supposed to be having church. Live, if you want to call it live. It felt so good.
It's making the adjustments.
Yes.
Say that again, Courtney.
No, I said it felt so good to me.
Sorry,
I got Sabbath rest on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
It don't seem like
wonderful. No, it has been. No man, yes, I'm saying that's wonderful. That is good that you're able to get some time to rest. And it really means that there are opportunities provided in the midst of the pandemic. And this is how awesome God is. You know, if we are careful, we will learn a lot during this time. I'm learning a lot about myself and learn a lot about God as well. So it really has been great in so many ways. And recognizing that we need each other. No man is an island. So we're going to learn some of these things with Brian, because we're going to ask him all the questions, and we're inviting all our listeners to ask him all the hard questions, right? Because he can answer them. So Courtney, it has been good.
Yes, it's
Brian.
We encourage persons to build altar at home. We must remember there were 4 families on lockdown for 40 days and 40 nights in the ark, and it was quite a smelly situation. It must have been tense. So families, you can get through it. You can do it. We only do it for weekends for the next 2 weeks. One family did it for 4 months almost. So we can do it. So be encouraged. Brian, good to have you with us. We thank you for joining us today. You are our Mentegrity guest, a man of integrity. Yeah, you're not short on nothing. How have you been and what have you been doing? Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, how have I been doing, especially given the pandemic? I think a lot of people, over time continue to learn lessons from this pandemic. And I am one of those persons. I spend a lot of time introspecting and reflecting on where I am and where I could have been. There were several scares that I had when I thought this was the case for me. I thought, I wasn't well at some points. Well, I wasn't well, and I thought it was, so I isolated. There's a room that we designated as the isolation room, and I took myself away from the family. Yeah. And it was a pretty trying time. So I can only imagine those who've been tested positive and have had to gone through that ordeal. It's not easy, being in the same place as your family, but not in the same place as your family. So it's pretty rough mentally, emotionally, and physically. But I am much better. I am up and about again, and I'm good.
Good. Kevin, who is a man of integrity? Thank you, Brian. That's so fantastic. We're glad you're here with us on this side of the grave.
Yes.
We're happy you are here.
Yep.
So, Kev, who is a man of integrity?
Thank you. So, according to Proverbs 10, verse 9, NIV says, whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out. A man of integrity value what is honest, what is true, what is trustworthy, what is kind and right ahead of personal gain. And what a time to really be underscoring the significance of integrity, in a landscape colored by corruption, colored by deceitfulness, and inauthenticity. What a time that we're very happy to showcase a man of integrity. And we all know we're not talking about perfection, because that would be for Jesus Christ, right? But we're talking about persons who are committed to truth and committed to be authentic. Persons who can say, I'm sorry if they have erred, but really want to model the life of Jesus Christ. And ladies and gentlemen, man on man, from boys to men, we're very happy to do this because we don't have good role models in great supply. We're short in supply. And so when we have a man of integrity like Brian Cuff, we're really just very excited and we want to get in as much as possible. So feel free to be a part of this conversation. Courtney.
Listen up. This young man is one of my children's most favorite voice to hear. They go cuckoo over hearing Brian's voice. When they actually saw him for the first time, they couldn't believe he was as young as he was. That was awesome. But let me tell you a bit more about Brian Cuff. He's a media practitioner for over 10 years. Started out as a news and sports reporter at Cable News and Sports before progressing to Love 101 FM as a news reporter. Hard work and dedication pays off as Brian moved up the ranks and spread his wings. Among other things, he is proud of his participation in the Barack Obama tour while at Love. Wow. Shortly after, he went on to the RJR Communications Group as a senior sports producer, responsible for TVJ Sports, for sporting products at TVJ and TVJ-SN. Some of his prominent moments of the group include spearheading World Cup 2018, interviewing Brianna the Sprinter Williams, Mike Fennell, and Marva Bernard, as well as producing interviews with Usain Bolt, Evander Holyfield, and Veronica Campbell-Brown. These days, he's lecturing, giving back, and exploring a different side of media. And we are privileged to have him with us this evening. we can write down our names in history now, Kevin, because we are interviewing the remarkable, illustrious Brian Cuff.
But I want to tell you, Courtney, that is crowning moments, however, with all of that, is when he said I do to Basilia Barnaby on January the 4th, 2014. And welcoming Bria Moore, and he'll have to correct me if I have it wrong, April 4, 2016. Bria Marie, right? And welcoming, and it would be Bella Renee, February 5th, 19. Wow. So you're talking about husband and father. And so we want to get straight into it. In fact, let me ask the question. Brian, can you share with us a little bit about your early childhood? Where were you born? What was it like for you growing up with parents, significant persons? Those early years for you, what was it like, Brian?
Well, before I even get there, hearing all of what you just said, of course, I have to give credence and glory to the Most High, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to say any of those things that you guys said, so I want to lay that down. All praises and glory go to him. I grew up in the beautiful Spanish Town, the great Spanish Town. Big up all the scale town massives in the building. I specifically grew up in Ensom City, and I spent most of my years there up until university. So I was in Ensom City for a long time. Plover Avenue, big ups to all the Plover Avenue massive. We go way back, and we have a storied history. But I grew there with my mother and father initially. And when I was about becoming a teenager, my father left to go overseas to make a better life for us as a family. Financially, it wasn't so easy. So he got an opportunity, and he was on the first trip out, so to speak. And, when he did that, it set off what some would call a catalyst or a cataclysm of events. And my life has never been the same since. Mommy was diagnosed with a heart condition as well, and she had to stop working, and it changed her life. She was, mommy was like the strong, outgoing, quick-witted person who was always inviting people to church and always being, a sort of evangelist in my eyes. She was now not well, and the doctors would tell her and tell us that at any given moment we can hear that she is gonna pass. So we were prepared first, and she's a fighter. She's been through a whole lot and is still here. So I give God thanks for that. But growing up, it was myself and my brother, and then when daddy left, it was mommy, and the both of us, for the most part, growing two boys in a society, any society at all, is pretty rough, much less in a Jamaican society, in a Spanish town at the time, which was a troubled and volatile community, So we weren't directly in it, being in Ensom City, but when we would travel or go to different communities in Spanish Town, it was still a bit risky, but God kept us. And I went to St. Jago High School, the St. Jago High School, Labor up there, Wicked, Monk Street, Ravenswood.
What you said about Monk Street?
I went to St. Jago High School. That is all. I don't even need to get into it today. And I'm proud of what school has taught me.
Excellent. Excellent school.
Wonderful.
Brian, it's so good hearing and having you with us. So you went to San Diego High School. We want to hear a bit about some of the challenges you faced while you were in high school. Did you try sports? You became a sportscaster. Tell us a bit about your adventures while being at San Diego High School and then leaving San Diego. What did you do? We want to hear a bit more about that.
Well, my sports origin started with my father. He was a cricketer, and he was still is an avid sports fan. So he grew us up on sports, like every single sports. I would watch a little tennis, a little golf, a little everything. So it became natural for me. I was always watching sports with him, or sometimes the sports would be watching him while he fell asleep in the chair.
I understand that.
I think we all understand it now, right? It has followed me to this very day. At St. Jago, I tried a little bit of sports, but it didn't really materialize. I tried out for the Pepsi team in first form, and then the Colts team, I think. But it didn't really work out. And I did play sports in PE and, in my spare time, but nothing as it relates to taking it into a career or representing my school. At St. Jago, I was more focused on, just enjoying myself. And it wasn't until I think fourth or fifth form when you were leaving or getting ready to leave, and they would tell you, you guys need to have more than just academics on your resume. And then, you would launch out in a barrage of different areas trying to fill the resume. At St. Jago, I did 8 subjects. I wanted to be a doctor. And I did biochemistry and several other subjects, the cores, math, English, English A, English B, IT, history, social studies. And bam, CXC bio and CXC chemistry took me out. There goes my dream of wanting to be a doctor. But I think one of the roughest parts for high school for me was I grew up in a little bit of a sheltered environment. So when I went to high school, I was exposed to a whole lot. So being exposed to my peers and learning all about the birds and the bees that we were told about back then, realizing what the birds and the bees were and all of that, it was really eye-opening. I learned most of my street smarts from going to high school and associating myself with my peers. And doing CXC, I think that threw me off though, because I started out as a young prodigy. I read early. I went to study for my school several years. I tried out for the parish level. I was in the top 6 for the boys. And, people had high expectations of me. And when I got to high school and I encountered the real world, and you see, when you talk about peer pressure, it doesn't necessarily mean you're the pressure to do certain things, but it means that because of you associating with your peers, the pressures just come naturally. And I was living as a boy and as a teenager and not having daddy to guide me certain ways. I fell off the wagon, so to speak. My grades dropped. The closest I came to being a football star was when our math grades would come out and we would compete to see who got 10, who got 19, who got 15 to represent our football star. So when I got number 15, or 24, Ricardo Gardner, one of my sports role models, I was proud of getting 24. Not proud to carry home to mommy, but when you're bragging with the guy, run joke and say, I am Ricardo Gardner and all of that. But it was rough. It was rough not having that.
It was challenging.
It was extremely challenging, especially when it came on to CXC.
So, wow. So it seems to me that you have had your challenges. Did you envision, after you weren't so excited about the grades you were getting, your dream of becoming a doctor dashed? Did you feel at that time that you may not be successful? Did you feel that sense that you may have been derailed? And then how did you get to come back to here where you are now, having achieved these things with God's help? How did you navigate to come back on the track? What was that for you, Brian?
I felt like a failure, straight up. I felt like a failure getting the results. Leading up to it, I was anticipating, because it was rough preparing for it when mommy wasn't well, and also being mentally stressed at times, knowing that daddy isn't here and the expectations that are on your shoulders. It was rough, and I felt like a failure when I was got the results and I saw that I failed bio and chemistry, and I got 6 8 subjects, but at those times I got 6 3s and 5 and 1. So that was my 6 subjects, and 3s were not welcomed. They were frowned upon, and the joke started about me having a forest because of your trees, and persons who fun of me, and also in addition to that, just knowing that you're maybe not going into 6th form, and just knowing that you're gonna have to tell persons that you're not gonna be able to be a doctor, you tell persons that you're not going to do well because of your qualification currently, was rough. I had plans to run away. Pressures are real, and pressures are serious. They can affect our minds crazy. I would tell persons at church, my friends, when results come out, you wanna see me, everybody be like, no, but you're bright, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, I'm not expecting good results. And the pressures of living up to those expectations was rough. And, when you are the I guess, deemed the boy savior of the family.
Yes.
It's rough. It's rough. And sometimes with good intentions, your parents, your relatives, everybody who is around you, they have good intentions for you. But the pressures that it comes with sometimes really can knock you down, and when you don't live up to it. And sometimes it leads you on a slippery slope. But God made a way. St. Jacob opened sixth form that year because of the numbers they were getting. So many persons. And they opened up an experiment of a sixth form. And I made it into that experiment. And that was the only year they had that experiment, as far as my recollection goes. And I was able to transition. It was an evening school project. Persons used to laugh at us, mock us that we're not real sixth formers. Persons used to treat us less than being a sixth former, because you're really not really a sixth former, are you? And that was, you had to be distinguished by wearing a different, a crest. Everybody else wore no crests. You had to distinguish yourself wearing a crest. You would come in during the afternoon when everybody else, the whole school is emptying out. And people used to make fun. And it was really rough. But I really looked at the opportunity that it was a second way or a second chance for me to make it, to make something of myself. And I was just really grateful for that. And I did 6C and I matriculated to 6A like everybody else. So they merged the two classes now and everybody became one in upper six. And even then, people were like, should you really be here with us, But I was adamant about fitting in, so to speak, and my friends were in the 6B and 6A. So I integrated myself with trying to not be an outcast, trying to not feel so bad. And it was rough at times. Because even when you're with them, somebody may say, yeah, but your friend was in 6B and you were in 6C. So, and boy, in a Jamaican culture, and Sir Kevin, I don't know about you, but I know Sir Courtney going to an all-boys school, it can get pretty rough, but it does get pretty rough in the schools as well. And you have to build a certain metal and a certain backbone. But while in public you were strong, when you were leaving and going home, it was rough. You felt at times like, do I really belong?
Yes. So you went now into 6A. I want to hear more. You felt like a failure. What motivated you? What stirred you from that point? Or did the stirring begin from that point? Was it a wake-up call for you to shift gear, to shift what you were doing? Want to hear a bit more because you ended up in university. So we want to hear a bit more from you as to how you overcame those struggles, all the peer pressure, the ones that really would seem to want to push you down. Because we want you to be able to tell someone today how it is that they too might be, experiencing the same thing. How is it that they can overcome and be a Brian Cuff, let's say, Usain Bolt, be whoever they are, but being successful, being themselves and being successful. We want you to tell us a bit more about that. But just before you tell us a bit more about that, we just want to ensure that we just take a time signal break right about now. It's 6 p.m. right here on Love 101, the family station. Sir Brian, let us know, how did you get past those stages?
One of the biggest things for me is, even though pressures really can weigh you down, sometimes there's good from it. And one of my biggest motivating factors and one of my biggest motivators continues to be my mother. Even though she wasn't well, so, I felt like I let her down, or I was worried that she wouldn't be as proud of me as I would have wanted her to be.
Yes.
When I got the results, the first response I got from somebody broke me. It was rough, because I didn't expect to pass any subjects. I got 6, not the best 6, but the first response suggested that I was still a failure. And when I told her, she screamed and so excited that I got 6 subjects. And to parents out there, to guardians, to family members out there, your feedback can make the difference between somebody's giving up or going on.
Yes.
the scream, even to this day when I'm talking about it, I can remember her scream of joy and her happiness of getting positive results from her son. Positive, she saw it as 6 positive results. I saw it as
Yes.
just joy. I barely scraped through. But her screams motivated me, and it pushed me to want to try again. And through sixth form and through the different progressing through life, doing sixth form again, I was even given a second chance to do bio, and I was really trying at it. I wanted to be a doctor because I wanted to help people. I wanted to help mommy. I wanted to understand how the body works to help people because, boy, I don't like see people suffering. And
Right.
I was adamant about it. So going into sixth form, it was her scream that was pushing me. Going into upper six, it was her scream that was pushing me. Again, after sixth form, things didn't get better. At home, daddy still was away, mommy was deteriorating. I was anticipating hearing the worst news ever. I was bracing for it. I was troubled by it. I was different hospital visits, when she had a stroke, when she had so many different things, when she was battling depression. I just really started getting worse, emotionally, mentally. I just took a toll. It took a toll on me. I didn't apply for university when we left sixth form. I
Yes.
didn't apply because I thought it don't make any sense, one. And two, maybe if I work and get some money to help out in the house and help out the financial situations, things will
Yeah.
be better.
Yes.
Not applying was some people would say one of my mistakes in life because I was at home for a while not doing anything. I
Yeah.
felt like a bum. I felt depressed. I felt discouraged. I felt, if I thought I felt like a failure before,
You were now. Yeah. Wow.
not going to school, watching TV, just watching TV, watching TV. I watched TV so much that I could tell you what was coming on any given station, all of the stations, right? What's coming on Monday, what's coming on Tuesday. And
Yeah.
I remember getting up one day and just walking. Wherever I end up, I would just walk. I would just walk. And I ended up in Spanish Town somewhere. I don't even remember where exactly, but it just came in like anything else. And one day I was at home and I had a nervous breakdown. It's the worst I've ever felt in my life. And mental health is a big deal. And I hope we really understand, especially even our men who don't talk. I put so much inside, I bottled so much inside. I didn't talk with my aunts because they were becoming my primary caregivers because mommy wasn't well and daddy was away. And I didn't feel like I could talk to anybody. In the midst of it all, I was encouraging people to talk. I was encouraging people to make it. I was encouraging people to not give up. But I was feeling so down and I never felt like I could have talked to some people. And even when people would ask, how are you? You good? And you really don't want to hear. You just ask because it's a formality. So I never shared with persons, and I was at home, and I felt like I was literally becoming. I was on the verge of going mad. Everything felt like it was crumbling around me. I was laying in my bed and looking up, and the walls literally. I felt it. I saw it in my head. It just closing in on me, and I felt like I was going insane. And I started crying. I just started crying, and I called my
Wow.
father in the US.
Wow.
And I just was crying. I don't even remember what the conversation was like, and he was just encouraging me and saying to me, don't give up. I'm gonna do everything I can to ensure that you go to university. I'm gonna do everything I can, and it I don't know how I recovered from that. Truthfully, that had to be God stepping in. I listened to him. I hung up the phone, and sometime after that, a cousin of mine, just in a casual conversation, said, "Why you not come to pre-UE for the rest of the year, and then transition to media?" I never thought about it, and I wasn't thinking about media. I wasn't thinking about anything but medicine. Still,
Yes.
I
Different
believe
M.
it was my calling, and I tried up. I applied. I applied to media. My cousin Richie Barnes, big up Richie, he
Yeah.
encouraged me. I applied to it. I tried out for the test. I didn't expect to get in. He had confidence in me. He believed in me. I did it. I got in, and I made it to Carrimack, and my life changed ever since.
Completely. How important is it, Brian, to have someone encouraging you, persons, especially as men, they say we don't talk, not expressing yourself outwardly with what is happening on the inside. How important is it to have someone there acting as motivator, encouraging you. They may not even know they have done it. You mentioned Richie Barnes, who encouraged you to go into media without knowing what would happen next. Look at you today. How important is that?
I see my fellow Carrie Mag, 2008 colleague Zuri, big up yourself. He messaged me today. Yes, it's so important. We don't even understand how important it is for our men to be affirmed. I mean, people
Yes.
are not whole, but we're talking about the men today.
Yes.
I remember when my father lifted up my brother after he did his common entrance to pass for St. Jago High School, and he put him on his shoulder, and he ran up and down in the town where we were, and he was just so excited about his son going to St. Jago. Right,
Yeah.
he wasn't there for me when my time came around, and that stuck with me. You know, I looked at him and I wanted that, and funny enough, it was recently. Some of you may know on an interview. You know, he for me, that was his way of publicly lifting me up. Big man now, lifting me up and putting me on his shoulders and shouting, "This is my son, who I'm well pleased in." So you see how long that was back in probably 1997 when he lifted up my brother, and it took until 2021, and it still resonated with me. You know, that this is my father bigging me up, saying, "This is my boy." And it's so important for our men because we try. I tell myself and I tell people when they ask me for bios and stuff, one of the things that you need to say about me is that I'm a trying guy, because I try. And men try. Yeah, our men are trying men. They have so much against them. People don't expect them to be this, don't expect them to be that. The odds are against them. But you see that one person in their corner saying, "Listen, you can do it." Whether
Amen.
it's a host, whether it's a partner, whether it's a sister, a brother,
Amen.
somebody shouting them on and saying, "Listen." And people might say, "Boy, you need self-motivation." Yes, you do. But I do believe that a part of us, no man is an island, no man stands alone, and we need each other. Yeah, we were created when God saw that man was alone, he created help, because full stop, man not to be alone. And it's so important having that person or that support system that can push you when you can't push yourself.
Yeah.
Whether you're a boy, a teenager, a young man, or a grown adult, just one person, that person who really matters. And the reason why it's so important is that there are so many other persons saying that you don't matter. There are so many other things saying that you cannot make it. And if those who believe in you are silent, and it's a phrase I said recently, and it just stuck with me and it continues to stick with me. If those who are supporting you are silent, sometimes you forget that they are in the majority. Because truly, if your whole family are supporting and want you for winning, but more often than not, they're not talking and supporting you publicly or making you hear that they are in your corner. So you get caught up in hearing all the negativity. You fear becoming a statistic. You fear becoming a part of the news. You hear, boy, men are marginalized. You hear, boy, men are not going to university. And you're hearing all of this and you're not hearing those supporting you. So it matters a whole lot to have people in your corner. No matter what anybody wants to say, you may be self-driven, but there comes a time in your life when that one person or those persons in your support system, when you hear them and you know they are there, they become the wind they need your wings.
Those who are listening, just want you to know, our Moran Point in Negril, you're in the voice of Brian Koff. He's our Mentegrity man. And we have been having this stimulating, down to earth, just transparent, candid conversation. Really appreciate that, Brian. Brian, know that you have gone through some of these challenging, difficult times, and here you are still standing, representing the kingdom, being married, father, and making your contribution in the media landscape, lecturing, and all of those things. What is your definition of success? And can every Jamaican man become successful? Talk to us about that, Brian. Your definition of success, and can every Jamaican man, understanding the landscape we're in, knowing where you grew up, knowing Spanish Town, knowing pandemic, knowing the challenges, share with our listeners your response to that, Brian.
Success for me is not success for you. That is my definition of success. Firstly, I want to put that around before I even try to define it. I want everybody to understand and that success looks different for different persons. And the important thing about success, it is not the standards that the world sets up for you. It's not the standards that everybody else sets up for you. It's two things. One, the standards that God has set out for you, and the standards that you are going to live up to try to be better than the person you were the day before. So success for me, it's not measured in the material things. Yeah, success for me is not measured in having an amazing job where you're earning big figures. You're having not even three, a big car, what has four rings or any other symbol. It's not, the accolades, hearing the public accolades that everybody wants. Well, not everybody, a lot of people want. It's not the public recognition in terms of the being awarded and honored. It's not even so much making a post on Instagram and getting 1 million people to like it. For me, it is firstly knowing that you're fulfilling your purpose. And big ups to Randall is always talking about purpose. Purpose is so important. You need to find your purpose, and your purpose continues to change as you continue to evolve, as long as your purpose is in God. Yeah, so purpose even itself is a moving mark. So finding your purpose and living it, influencing the world for better. Because it makes no sense you're influencing your pocket and you are getting richer and you have no lasting legacy. So impacting the world for better. It is also, for me, making sure that whatever accolades or qualifications you have out in the world, as a father, as a mother, as a husband, as a father and a husband, I talk about my wife as a mother now, hearing them, my children and my wife saying to me that, yes, daddy, you're a great dad or a great father. More so a trying dad and a trying father for me, because greatness is relative as well. So it's important for me to hear from them saying, daddy, we love you and we appreciate the effort. That means you're doing something good at home. And you can't be the greatest out there and then you are, the bane of existence while you're at home. So for me, those are the things that measure up to really being successful. You may not be rich, you may not have the vehicles, you may not have a perfect life as the world says it should be. But when you're happy, when you're at peace, and when you're satisfying the will of God in your life, you're a successful person.
Awesome. I see Zuri, your fellow compatriot, saying success is individualistic. We want to take some of what our social media persons are saying. Sister Rere says, Monday, Abraham, I'm one of your big fans, and your wife love your story. Through your trial, you came out more than she's a conqueror.
Amen.
In the Jamaican conqueror, you feel me? So up. Sister Ria, her voice. Joan Dawkins says, wow, Mr. Cuff, hearing your story, I would never know. But God was your strength, and I'm now happy to know you persevered, and to God be the glory. Just some awesome things. We have heard your story of success. We also want to hear your story of what does it feel like to be a husband 7 years ago, into marriage, January. You did the thing as close to the new year as possible. Tell us a bit of how you met Lady Basilia, how it blossomed into this wonderful tree that has borne 2 fruits so far. We want to hear a bit more about your whole experience in becoming married and where that has led you to. We have heard the stories that you gave up your illustrious career for your family because what was out there was not good. So tell us a bit about the meeting and how it blossomed and where it led you to.
I've said this before, even the background, that I believe in God and I believe God has plans. And I see how I tell people when they ask, where's my other half, that we are 2 wholes, making 2 becoming 1. So it's 1 + 1 becoming 1 again. So it's a brand new 1. And how she has complemented and helped my life to be complete in so much shows to me, and it reminds me about the goodness of God. And he that findeth a wife, find it. I just God put that one in my life, because when I started working at Love FM, I was not looking for love at love. I was looking for love paycheck. Yeah. And that was where my focus was, to become better at my craft and to earn a living. And when she came there shortly after, a couple months after me, I was focused and driven on my career. And when she came in, she walked in like this was a Cinderella story, and I decided I was gonna be the ogre or Shrek, and I was gonna be, who are you? What happened? So I really was dismissive. I really was hard on her, and even as her supervisor, I was really rough, making sure that she got dotted the I's and crossed the T's. But she came in and she showed me a different part of life. And to the men out there, our women are so precious, and when you find the right woman, she will basically help you to be the best person you can be. And I was always a giver. I care about people. I reach out to people. Even to this day, my students, some of them, boy, if they post anything on social media, they know Mr. Cuff will respond to them firstly, because I care about them, and some of what they may post, I may say, hey, So I care and I give. People were in need of help, I would be there. People wanted company to go X, I was there. I was, a willing servant of God. And I really wasn't receiving. I really, at times I wondered who would encourage me, who would support me in my rough times, who would give me a word, would even, financially when I'm down in the rut, who would support me. And she came in and she showed me life like I never knew it. She was so caring. I realized after the fact why people loved her and continue to love her, because of her story. Yeah, she's so caring. She just meet you for the first time, I want to hug you up. Well, not in Corona time, but she just want to hug you and say hi and treat you like she know you a long time. And this personality really won me over. We became good friends, and I got the conviction from God sometime after. A good little distance away, she will tell you that this person, is the one whom I've sent for you, and she has made my life so much better. She's rerouted everything, yes. As God continues, so as it relates to medicine, to media, to a whole other level. But I see God's purpose in my life. And when that came under threat because of job situations and the family life, I froze. I was worried, I was scared. And men, it's okay to be worried, it's okay to be scared, it's okay to express these emotions. We are human beings. Yeah. And it's okay for a man to say, I need help. And it's okay for a man to seek that help. It's okay for a man to cry. That is not even a discussion we need to have anymore, because we've established that and we all believe that on this panel. And it's just okay for men to be real. And what we consider a real man to be sometimes just isn't it. And I was in the pits, so to speak. People would see us and not know, because we believe in dealing with certain things together as a unit and outside of the public sphere, because sometimes undue influence can cause things to go in some other directions, respectfully, even with good intentions. So we kept dealing with it and fighting it out, not fighting each other, but fighting it out as a couple. And the situations are what I'm fighting, where we were fighting. And it came to a point where we just weren't having that love anymore because of the conflicts, because of the tension, because of the distance. We just, we would see each other and operate in terms of what needs to be done for our daughter, or what needs to be done for work, or for her, my daughter, more than anything else, my first daughter. And we would teeth and tongue would mesh and meet a whole lot. And we just weren't in the same place.
We weren't kissing when teeth and tongue.
Not that way at all. We were more kissing teeth at each other,
Yes.
And it became so contentious that at one point she felt like she was giving up. She gave up, and I believe, because I have been through so much, and sometimes we don't see the sense in our situation. But all the situations we've all been through in the past have made us stronger for our current situation now. And I just believe that I've gone through so much that this is not going to be one that ends the way it seems like it was going to end. And I prayed about it and talked to God. And it wasn't a revelation where God came down and said, Brian, leave. But I got in my soul and in my spirit and in my mind that now was the time to make this step because if I didn't, a term that I use nowadays, if I didn't press the brakes and take a break, then my marriage would break. And I just
wow.
that was so important to me. Press the brakes, yeah, and take a break before what you hold there breaks. It may be a peace of mind, it may be a mental facet, it may be whatever, but sometimes you just have to say no. And I said no to that job. You made mention of Usain Bolt, Veronica Campbell-Brown, Brianna Williams. Like those things, growing up as a sports star, growing up a sports child, sorry. You know, you're meeting all of these sports stars now, and you're in the same room, you're having discussions with them, you're taking pictures, you're laughing, you're talking. You know, you can call these persons for interviews, etc. It was like, really, Brian, you? And then to know that you're possibly going to walk away from this because your family is more important, and to know that you're walking out into uncertainty too. Men, faith, Abraham, Moses, all of these men of God who had faith, you have to have that measure of faith, because I was moving out of that into a part-time lecturing job, which is part-time. It lasts for a season, it lasts for different semesters. It doesn't pay the full pay. All of those realities were facing me as a man confronted with that, as a man who believes that, you know, you need to take your family by the shoulders and carry them. It was not an impressive thought. It was not a light at the end of the tunnel moment. It was, I'm shrouded in darkness, and Lord, I need you more than anything else. And getting to that point, seeing God turn up, it was when, how did I know that it was the right decision? You know, because even after you make some decisions, men, women, you feel like, did I make the right decision? You question it so many times. And it was when I was washing up the dishes one morning. Again, now I have time to wash up the dishes, because I would have gone early heading into Kingston from Monday. But I was there and washing up the dishes. My daughter wakes up and sees me, and she runs and hugs me and holds onto my leg. And she looks me in the face and says, Daddy, you are here.
Wow.
That beats any other accolade, any other, just hearing that means so much more to me than hearing, you know, boy, even if I was employee of the quarter, even if I was employee of the year, even if I got a promotion, that to me meant the world.
Daddy, you are here. Just very, very powerful. Realizing almost that our time almost up, but just want to talk some of it in our chat. This one says, yes, my brethren, I wonder what year did Brian leave St. Jago? I was a guidance counselor there, 97 to 98, and I'm wondering if he was there in my time. Don from Eltham. And then song words, Brian, about success, finding your purpose and living it and impacting the world. Love it. Be blessed, brother. And I love your poem. Please do one today. They said I love your poem. Big up yourself, Sir Cuff, Delarica Miles. So many persons on our chat. We can't complete all of them.
Kevin, here's one short one that came out at the beginning. That was, good evening to the panel. My question to Brian is, how hard is it to be father in a society that 75% of the fathers are missing and most marriages are falling apart? We seem to have missed that question from the beginning, but I think you have shed some light.
Yes.
I think we've sort of looked at that. But before I even touch it, I think that's Sir Don. Yes, man, Sir Don. I went in 97 and I met you and I know you, and we even spoke so many times. I think even here from Love FM, Sir Don. If you guys know who I'm talking to when I say Sir Don, from I think Sir John, he was at Sir John Rehab. So Love FM has a relationship with them. To the question about how hard is it to be a father and a husband in a society that 75% of the fathers are missing or marriages are failing. Full stop, whether or not in a society with 75% and with all the stats that you quoted, I'm not fully aware of the stats, but it's just hard to be a father and a husband. It's not an easy task or an easy role, and it's like a full-time job. And, you know, just understanding how for God so loved the world, our Heavenly Father gave it up all for us. You know, just knowing the decisions he had to make, but it's not really a decision because it's God, but it's a decision he had to make, so to speak. You know, daily when he loads us with benefits, daily when he does this and that. And also, if you look at it from the bride of Christ, being a husband as well, like how many of us would want to be God? The decisions he has to make, the pressures he has of running the world. How many of us
Yeah.
would want that? It's hard. And every single day, you have to just be cognizant that today is going to be a rough day as it relates to beating the odds that people set against you. Today is going to be a rough day, as in you're a child of God and you're trying to live right, so the enemy is going to present bad. When you try to do good, evil presents itself. And also, the mere fact that the institution of marriage or the institution of being a father, really, especially a black father or a Jamaica, the odds are against you. It means that you are now going to have to get up every day to live outside of the stigma that you are a quote unquote worthless man or you're a quote unquote other things that we will not mention here. But people have it, you know, a lot of people because of hurt. Just knowing that you're a man, they write you off. So it's hard. It's really hard. And the harder it gets is the more I rely on God. And the more I rely on God helping me to fulfill my purpose. I will never
And
take for being a great father or a great man or for any other accolades that people give me. And sometimes when people congratulate me and tell me big ups for your story, I try to do the right thing by saying, thank you, I'm humbled, I'm honored, but I've got to
yeah.
help.
Amen.
Sharon Barnes wants to say hello, big up to you, Brian, and the work you're doing so many ways. You and your wife and family, and your contribution to the kingdom of God. So many persons. On the while, I wanted you to kind of talk about how our men you believe in the church can step up to the plate, you know, having all these challenges. What do you think we could do differently, Brian? You know, all the experiences you have had and the insight. What do you think we could do as men in the church, you know, as a template to touch our boys to men to bring them to a better place, empowerment, encouragement? What are your thoughts on that?
I think firstly, and I'm going to be a bit controversial in terms of saying that whatever I say or whatever I try to bring across is not just for us as Christians or Christian men. It's for anybody who is a man or a human being. I try to speak across the board. But for a man, whether
Yes.
you're a Christian and you're hearing this program or whatever, and you might say, boy, I'm not this Christian, I'm going to have this God thing. The truth is we all have a piece of God in us. And I was in a discussion with some men recently that Adam was formed and then God blew into him. So whether you're a Christian walking according to that God call in your life, there's a God call in all of our lives, and we are by nature human beings. We have a piece of God in us, and by nature we are leaders, we are creators, we are all of those positive things. So the truth is, for us as men in the church or anywhere, any man to be a leader in society, we need to embrace that God call upon our life. And it's not necessarily me saying you need to become a minister, you need to go to church, but that purpose that is calling from deep inside you comes from a piece of God inside you. And that is why we can all say we are princes or we are kings or we are, you know, God-like or we are royalty, you know, because we are heirs and joint heirs. But if you are in a church or anywhere you go as men, if you understand that call firstly, and then you know understand that I am a child of God, or I am called and created for a purpose, then our thinking as what it means to be a man or a leader will be changed. The first thing for us to understand to being a leader is we have to follow. Follow me as I follow Christ. Yeah. So there's no way. Every day I get up and I'm trying to align myself with being a good man. I ask myself, not the cliche, what would Jesus do? But how does this mesh up or line up to my purpose as a man, as what God would have me do? You know, because at the end of the day, truth be told, is what we do for him will matter. It's what we do to influence the world for better will matter. It's what we do to influence our general society that will matter. And that is why when a man of influence step into a corner, whether I'm doing good or bad, people listen, people follow.
Yes.
We just have that call on us. And he's walking in that call, not necessarily in the right way, but he's walking in the call. So that's the first thing. Walking that call and
I
that call to understand, say God call you, God have a call on your life. And in order for you to be the great man that you want to be, or to be the great leader that you're called to be, every day you have to ask God, where are you leading me to? What should I do? In everything you involve him. And it sound weird, it sound cliche, it sound like, yeah, whatever you want to do, Lord, do it. Don't do it without me.
Well,
Not true. Not true. You have a friend or you have a wife or a partner or you ask them, you say, what do you think about this? But we can't say, God, what do you think about this? You know,
and
so
Brian, boy, we could have another hour, but look at the time. No, Courtney.
hey, when men talk, man, when men talk and when we start reasoning, man.
Yeah.
We'll go.
It done.
I have met you, Brian. It's happy to have met Basilia. It's happy to just know you both and the two children.
I have been influenced by you, sir. Big ups, big ups.
Bless you. My biggest takeaway from today is when Brian said that God the Father said to his son, "This is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased." I saw a total different thing. He affirmed him just before he went for 40 days of temptation by the enemy, and he came out the other end filled with the Holy Spirit. We want to say thanks to our producer, Tony K. Bromfield, to Nissan Williams for technical support, to our special guest, none other than Mr. Brian Croft, a true man of integrity, the one who chose his marriage and family over the glitter of his media career. For information now to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-9597 or download the podcast via our mobile app. I was trying to use my Brian Croft voice.
Listen again next week for another Mailbox, the program designed for men with guests who are men, hosted by men. I'm Kevin Bailey.
And I'm Courtney Morrison. Next week, Monday. Bless you all.
Integrity man, I am a man.